What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to Cowboys News TV, your go-to source for all the latest Dallas Cowboys updates, insights, and analysis. I'm Dave, and today we're diving deep into Sunday's tough 44-19 loss to the New Orleans Saints, and boy, was it a rough one. If you're still recovering from that blowout, you're not alone. Even Jerry Jones had some strong words to say after the game, calling it, and I quote, extraordinarily disappointing. Before we jump into the full breakdown, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on any of our Cowboys content. Your support is crucial as we're pushing toward our goal of reaching 11,000 subscribers. Every subscription helps us grow and continue bringing you the best Cowboys coverage out there. So, Cowboys Nation, help us hit that goal by subscribing today. Alright, let's get into it. What happened against the Saints? The Cowboys were coming off a strong Week 1 win over the Cleveland Browns, where they looked dominant on defense, shutting down the Browns and taking home a 33-17 victory. Everything seemed to be clicking. But against the Saints? It was a completely different story. New Orleans came out firing on all cylinders, and it felt like the Cowboys' defense just wasn't ready. The Saints scored touchdowns on each of their first 6 offensive possessions. Let that sink in for a moment. Alvin Kamara was unstoppable, totaling 4 touchdowns, 3 of them on the ground. The Saints racked up 432 yards of total offense, and this marks the first time the franchise has scored 40 or more points in back-to-back games since 2018. For a defense that was being talked about as one of the best in the league, this was a complete meltdown. Cowboys Nation, I want to hear from you. What do you think was the biggest issue in this loss? Was it poor defensive play, lack of adjustments, or something else entirely? Let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to vote in our community poll on whether you believe the Cowboys defense can bounce back from this. We value your insights, so be sure to share your thoughts. Now, let's talk about Jerry Jones. After the game, Jones didn't hold back. He called the loss extraordinarily disappointing and assured reporters, "We will correct this. We will improve." This kind of statement from Jones shows how seriously the organization is taking this defeat. Losing like this, especially at home, hurts. And it hurt even more because this loss snapped a 16-game regular season home winning streak. You could feel the frustration. Jones also mentioned that this was a wake-up call for the Cowboys, one that they didn't expect this early in the season. This is early. This is very, very early. And we certainly didn't see it coming, Jones said. And you know what? That's the scariest part. It's only week 2, but the Cowboys now have to confront some hard truths. There's clearly room for improvement, and Jones made it clear that they'll be working to fix these issues. Let's talk about Dak Prescott. He put up some decent numbers, 293 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. He completed 27 of 39 passes, but it wasn't enough. Prescott was also sacked 3 times, and you could see the pressure affecting him. The offensive line just didn't hold up like it needed to, and the lack of a strong running game didn't help either. The Cowboys' ground game was practically non-existent, managing just 68 rushing yards for the entire game. That put a lot of pressure on Prescott, and when he's forced to drop back that often, mistakes happen. Here's a question for you, Cowboys Nation. Do you think Dak Prescott did enough in this game, or was he let down by the offensive line and running game? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's get a discussion going. I'm curious to hear where you stand on this. Now, we've got to talk about the defense. After such a dominant performance in Week 1, expectations were sky high, but Sunday's game brought those crashing down. The Saints exposed some major flaws. Kamara was running wild, and the Cowboys just couldn't stop him. This game is a reminder that depth on defense is critical, especially when facing high-powered offenses like New Orleans. The Cowboys have some serious adjustments to make, and they need to make them fast. Defensive coordinator Dan Quinn is undoubtedly working overtime this week to figure out what went wrong and how to fix it. Cowboys Nation, do you still believe in this defense, or are you concerned that this game exposed some deeper problems? Let us know in the comments. Should the Cowboys be looking to bring in more defensive help, or do you think they have the pieces in place to turn things around? Now, here's the tough part. There's no time to dwell on this loss because the Baltimore Ravens are coming to town in Week 3. And they're hungry. The Ravens haven't won a game yet this season, and they'll be looking to right the ship against the Cowboys. Baltimore has a dynamic offense led by Lamar Jackson, and if the Cowboys' defense plays like it did against the Saints, it's going to be another long day. What do you think, Cowboys Nation? Do we bounce back in Week 3, or are we looking at another tough game? Let's see your predictions in the comments, and don't forget to vote in our community poll on whether you think the Cowboys will take down the Ravens next Sunday. Look, it's only Week 2, but this loss stings. The Cowboys have the talent to be a playoff contender, but games like this show that there's still a lot of work to be done. The good news? It's early, and the season is long. Jerry Jones has faith that the Cowboys will correct these issues, and I think we all hope he's right. But the team needs to show it on the field, starting with this upcoming matchup against the Ravens. Alright, let's dive into what needs to happen next for the Cowboys to get back on track. First and foremost, it's clear that the team needs to regroup and refocus. The loss to the Saints exposed several vulnerabilities, and it's up to the coaching staff to address these issues head-on. Dan Quinn and his defensive unit need to figure out how to contain explosive players like Alvin Kamara and shore up the gaps in the defensive line. The performance against New Orleans wasn't just a bump in the road, it was a glaring reminder of how quickly things can unravel if adjustments aren't made. On the offensive side, the offensive line has to perform better. Dak Prescott can only do so much if he's constantly under pressure. The line needs to give him more protection and create running lanes for the backs. Speaking of running backs, the Cowboys need to find a way to get the ground game going. The lack of rushing yards against the Saints was alarming and put even more pressure on Prescott. The team might need to explore different combinations or strategies to get their rushing attack back on track. In the upcoming week, focusing on film study and practice will be crucial. The Cowboys need to learn from their mistakes, refine their strategies, and come out with a game plan that addresses the weaknesses exposed by the Saints. The Ravens are a formidable opponent with a dynamic offense led by Lamar Jackson, and the Cowboys can't afford another lackluster performance. Now, let's not forget the importance of leadership in times like these. Dak Prescott, as the team's quarterback and leader, will need to step up and rally the team. His ability to stay composed and lead by example will be key in turning things around. The entire team must come together, refocus, and be ready to fight for a better outcome in Week 3. Before we wrap up, I want to remind you to keep those comments coming. Share your thoughts on what the Cowboys need to do to bounce back, and let's get a conversation going about how they can fix these issues before facing the Ravens. Your insights are invaluable, and I'm eager to hear what you think. And as always, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Your support means the world to us and helps us keep bringing you the latest and greatest Cowboys coverage. Thanks for joining me, Dave, on Cowboys News TV. Let's hope for a better showing next week. Until then, stay tuned and keep rooting for the Cowboys.